penultima secțiune din evenimentul de astăzi. Am intitulat-o Sustenabilitatea în primul rând. Îl avem pe Craig live. Please present yourself and the floor is yours. The people are seeing you, they're seeing your presentation, so please.
That sounds wonderful. I hope you guys are enjoying a great event there. It looks like it's a lively event. I'm Craig Matthews. I'm a senior innovation consultant, and I work out of a high-tech incubator in the beautiful city of Graz in Austria. You can probably tell from my accent, I'm actually not Austrian myself. I do come from the United Kingdom. And I'm here today to pretty much give you a very brief overview of practical sustainability, how you can implement it in your organizations, and what might be the role of startups and innovation in helping you to achieve some of those goals. Okay, so you can see my slides. I'm going to quickly move along. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to really be very focused. So I'm looking at the people, the property, and the product, and how in these different domains, you yourselves, your organizations can actually implement sustainability. But one thing that is very important is that you, as an organization, start to think about how you set your vision for sustainability. So what does that actually mean for your organization? And there are plenty of tools out there today that can help guide you in this process. For example, you could look at the Sustainable Development Goals as a framework to help you decide how your business will focus in on particular goals, sustainability goals, and how you're going to prioritize them. So that's something that's like a first priority, I think, for most companies that are thinking about sustainability. I think that it's then important that you get buy-in. So within your entire organization, you not only have your vision, but you communicate it and you make sure that everybody within the organization understands that you have particular goals and what is their particular role in helping your organization to achieve those goals. This is something that's extremely important to get the entire organization behind a particular activity. Then I think it's really important just to think about how you can dedicate a position, if you have it, have the ability to do it, if you're large enough maybe, for sustainability. So give somebody the responsibility, maybe a champion or somebody who's particularly interested in the topic of sustainability and rolling out throughout the organization. A lot of people these days are really keen to be involved and be active. And I think that companies have a great opportunity to find those people and give them the responsibility, because it's going to be important that not only do they monitor the progress that you're making towards that vision, they're measuring the output, and they're also reporting it on a regular basis to all the different stakeholders within your organization. And then importantly, it's critical that as an organization, you think about sustainability and look at it as an ongoing process. Something where you're constantly trying to think of new, novel ways to be more sustainable. And this is an ongoing process, something that's very interesting. So as a consultant, as somebody who is particularly passionate about identifying exciting new technologies and the startups and the founders who are developing them, I'm a huge advocate for persuading organizations, corporates, companies, from small, medium to large enterprises to actually actively engage in working with startups, because very often they're developing solutions to challenges that most companies are struggling with or have maybe not even considered. And what I've shown here on the board is pretty much a bit of a framework that companies can look at when thinking about integrating the solutions of startups into their businesses. And the two main ones that I would focus on is venture clienting. So actively going out there and thinking, okay, what sort of technologies are available out there that I can integrate into my business? Or there's the venture partnering, where you've got a particular challenge and you want to work or partner with a startup or a project to actually develop a more unique or bespoke solution for your organization. Both of these are very possible, but what it does require is an internal process that says, we're going to do this. So that's my bit of passion. But then let's talk about those three topics that I talked about before: the people. So by people, what I want to really focus on is the people within your organization. But there's no reason why you can't involve also your communities and the wider society in the way in which you think about this. You know, we've all heard of the ESGs. We all understand how that sort of can be implemented or used as a guideline for your organizations. But for people, I want to talk about some very simple, maybe you've already considered them, but just practical things that you can do today, which is thinking about the big mega trend of new work, right? So giving people the opportunity, for example, to come in by bike. If you turn around to your employees and encourage them to come in by bike, don't just say it. Actually take action, implement policies within your organization that even may help your colleagues to purchase a bike, may actually help them to refurbish a bike, repair a bike, have services, make sure you have a punch of repair kit in the office, you know, because you're there. Buy them a helmet that may have some nice branding for your company, things that encourage people to safely transport by bike. But of course, it's not always possible for people to use bikes when they come into work, maybe because air quality is particularly bad, maybe the weather's not great. So you have to think also a little bit about the flexibility, enabling your colleagues, maybe if they're coming by car, to come in either a little bit earlier or come in a little bit later to avoid the rush hour. These are some very simple things that you can do today in order to reduce your impact of the people who work for your organizations. For example, you could even say, when it's raining, be flexible, allow your colleagues to work from home. Unfortunately, this is a cultural thing. You have to think about this in the context. I'm British, and in the United Kingdom, every other day it rains. So, you know, if you particularly need your colleagues to be more actively in the building, that might not necessarily work for you. So you have to think about your own individual circumstances, what's important for you, and implement. In terms of companies, so I'm working with a great company. It's called Y Flavor. And what they're doing is they're helping to make meat alternative foods much more meaty and flavorful, right? So you don't actually have to go out and cultivate, meat from traditional sources. You can actually do a bit of a switch, a bit of a pivot. Maybe some of the events that you're organizing, make sure that you have the vegan option on there. But a company like this is trying to make those vegan alternatives or vegetarian alternatives much more tasty. So people are more willing to actually get involved. The second thing is property. So, you know, thinking about sustainable infrastructure, sustainability within buildings is actually a huge topic for the EU. And they're really trying to encourage organizations to think about how they can become more sustainable. And one very simple thing, if you have access to your building manager or building facility manager or someone like that, you know, just thinking about water usage. You can, by simply lowering the pressure on the water or by oxygenating the water flow, you can actually dramatically reduce the amount of water you're using within your facility for washing hands, for example. We actually have this implemented within the office that I'm working in. It does take a little bit longer to fill up a cup of water, but it's great because when you're washing your hands or for other purposes, you're not being overly wasteful. Also, just think about the heating and cooling systems within your building. How many of you have been in a situation in the winter where your heating is on and people are opening the windows because it's just too hot? I mean, just being a little bit mindful about those. Introducing plants, another life, other green life into your office environment not only helps improve the health and well-being of your employees, but it also has positive environmental aspects to it too. From a startup perspective, I introduced to you Tilt Analytics. This is a company that is actually using cutting-edge AI algorithms, which can actually help reduce your energy consumption by up to 30%. You know, that's a massive saving, especially if you're part of a large organization that is maybe operating with over, say, 3,000 square meters of office space. That can actually have a huge impact on your energy savings and overall cost. One of the big topics about sustainability that I always talk about is how very often sustainability and those goals that you're achieving are very much aligned with business and business objectives, such as being more resource conscious, reducing your costs, your energy consumption, etc., etc. And finally, in this particular domain, I talk a little bit about your product. Product can also be products, services, processes in delivering them. They all can provide you with an opportunity to be more sustainable in terms of what you're actually offering to your customers. And this can start with, for example, asking the suppliers that you work with to do their own sustainability audit so you understand how they're impacting the environment, because you're effectively inheriting some of those emissions or best or worst practices. So look at your suppliers, ask them to be part of the solution with you. When it comes to designing new products and services, you need to think maybe from first principles, going back and redesigning them so that they actually work in a more circular fashion, that they work with this whole idea of circular economy so that they can be repaired, reused, and recycled. So this is something that's extremely important. And also, don't be afraid to change your supplier. If you're finding that they're not using the most environmentally friendly materials, or for example, change to an energy supplier that's actually developing it using renewable energy, or if you're a company that actually depends heavily on IT infrastructure, do a little bit of research. It may mean spending a little bit more money, but actually switching your business infrastructure, your IT infrastructure onto green servers could be an extremely important way. And we just heard last week how the big tech companies in Silicon Valley, Amazon, and also Google are actually looking at building their own nuclear facilities to be able to run their services using a more, let's say, more sustainable energy source. Okay, so, and what can I say about products? So here's another great example of a company. It's called FOMO. I love the name. It almost sounds like fear of missing out, but actually they're developing a foam alternative using cellulose, which is 100% recyclable and has so many different applications. Think about where foam is actually used within the environment around you. It's really, for example, from shoes, to the midsole, to the padding, to insulation. This sort of material is really a future material. It's not only 100% recyclable, it biodegrades and is an alternative to fossil fuel alternatives. That's pretty much what I want to say today. I know that I had a very short period of time in which to give you some impulse, give you some ideas. But the key message here is that there is really great things that you can do today to start making your organizations more sustainable. And please think about using startups as a means to help you overcome certain challenges, improve your products, and improve your processes. There are many more out there. If you want to know more, please feel free to get in touch and we can have nice conversations. Back to you, Liviu.
Okay, thank you, Craig, very much. Let's applaud him.